What if the next world order isn't led by the United States? Or China? Or Russia? What if the countries that actually shape the future are the ones in between? We are living through what I call a fragmented world order, a geopolitical rupture where Russia was never fully integrated into the West. China was integrated economically, but never politically. And now the United States is stepping back from the very order it built. So here's the real question. If the great powers are breaking the system, what are the middle powers supposed to do? This is the middle power moment. Let's first explore the rupture. The post-Cold War order ran on three assumptions. 1. Globalization would bind China to Western norms. 2. Post-Soviet Russia would eventually align with Europe. 3. The United States would remain the guarantor of collective security and open markets. All three assumptions broke. The result? A world with no referee. That doesn't automatically mean a new Cold War. But it does mean instability, unless someone stabilizes it. And that someone probably isn't Washington or Beijing or Moscow. It's the countries in the middle. We could be facing three options. In a fragmented world order, there are only three paths. 1. Reform existing institutions. 2. Build new ones. 3. Let fragmentation accelerate. Option 3 leads to geopolitical depression. So the middle powers, Europe, India, Japan, Brazil, Canada, Australia, the oil-rich countries of the Middle East, parts of Southeast Asia, now face a strategic decision. Do they step up or drift? Let's start with diplomacy. If the United States withdraws from multilateral institutions, someone fills the vacuum. When Washington stepped back from the World Health Organization, China immediately increased its funding. That's not ideology. That's leverage. Middle powers don't need to build flashy new clubs. They need to fund the United Nations, strengthen the World Trade Organization, protect the International Monetary Fund, and coordinate voting power. Not glamorous, but effective. Because here's the truth. You cannot build a new global architecture while Washington and Beijing are actively trying to undermine it. So middle power strategy isn't about new buildings. It's about variable geometry, coalitions of the willing, flexible alignment. But security is harder. Military power is asymmetric. The United States still dominates. Most middle powers can't hedge fully. They're too dependent. But they can diversify. India is increasing defense spending and rebalancing procurement. European states are exploring deeper coordination independent of Washington. There are early discussions of sovereign deterrence capacity in places like Japan and South Korea. Not full decoupling, but partial insurance. This is quiet hedging, not rebellion. The third point is economics. And economics is where middle powers have real leverage. Trade architecture is already multipolar. You're seeing EU-South American negotiations, India-EU talks, discussions about linking CPTPP with Europe, supply chains are being redesigned. Brazil isn't tying rare earths exclusively to Washington. It's diversifying. Middle powers don't need dominance. They need optionality. And here's the interesting idea. What if they created something like NATO's Article 5, but for economic coercion? If one member faces unjustified sanctions or trade weaponization, others respond collectively. Not automatic, but coordinated. That would change the risk calculus for both the United States and China. The final point is technology, and this is the most volatile space. Unlike NATO or WTO rules, there's no settled architecture. Artificial intelligence is being shaped right now. The United States and China are ahead, strategically, financially, institutionally. Middle powers are behind. But here's the opportunity. The United States tech ecosystem is diffuse. China's is centralized. That creates space for a third model. Imagine a sovereign open-source AI stack, anchored in Europe, Canada, India, Japan, governed by rule-of-law principles, not absorbed into either the United States or Chinese strategic doctrine. Companies like Mistral AI or Cohere could be foundational pieces. It would cost billions. But compared to losing technological sovereignty, this would be very cheap. But there is the global South problem. Here's the complication. Western middle powers think they're defending a rules-based order. Much of the global South hears that as selective enforcement. Ukraine receives massive support. Sudan, Myanmar, Haiti? Not so much. If middle power coordination looks like wealthy democracies trying to manage everyone else, it will fail. Any viable architecture must engage the Global South as partners, not recipients. Development, debt, climate finance, technology access. Otherwise, the legitimacy problem repeats. What about the donut strategy? And here's the twist. Middle powers aren't just states. They are corporations, foundations, regional blocs. When Washington steps back, others move in. China did this during the first Trump era, mapping influence beyond Washington. Canada did it recently. The Gates Foundation influences global health more than many governments. Power is no longer centralized. And that might be the real middle power advantage. The fragmented world order won't last forever. Something will replace it. If middle powers act, pragmatically, flexibly, inclusively, they shape that order. If they hesitate, the United States and China will lock in bilateral systems across infrastructure, technology, and security. And the next global architecture will reflect whoever did the work. This is the middle power moment. The question is, will they take it?